Hi, I'm Lubomir. Let's dive into the final topic of this video series. Part 10: Journey and Life. How to carry out the spiritual path in the conditions of ordinary life. The difficulty of this challenge varies from person to person. The coin with which you pay for progress on this path is time. You have to cut off from the activities you normally perform and devote the time you gain to the means of realizing the path. You begin to use a weight that you have not needed to use up to now. On one bowl of the scales is the spiritual life, and on the other is the worldly life. In the beginning, the scale is completely tipped on the side of the worldly life, but as you progress, it slowly tilts on the side of the spiritual life. You will reduce the activities that are foolish and meaningless and fill your life with activities that are noble, spiritual. This, of course, is easier for a person living alone. If he has a family, it is his moral duty to take care of it. This increases the difficulty of time management. It is similar with people considerably occupied with work. You need to work to support yourself or your family. That is why most people have to engage in such activities. However, everyone has to answer the question of how much they really need for their livelihood and how much time and energy they are willing to sacrifice to provide it. But one thing is certain. If you want to advance on the spiritual path, you must subordinate the worldly life to the spiritual life. There are many activities that are in direct conflict with such a life. They are moral failures, which, like mortal wounds, are incompatible with the spiritual life. Moral principles must be applied without compromise. This is the gateway to spiritual pilgrimage. But it is not a sufficient condition for successful progress. It is necessary to realize all the means and pass through all the stages of the spiritual journey, even if it is the most difficult thing that can befall a person. One must not forget that one must give up everything in order to realize the one true and noble ultimate goal. But in so doing, contradictory as it may sound, everything is gained in complete freedom. It is possible to be in this world and not be of this world. Each one must himself come to the source of the highest knowledge. The normal way of practicing the path is to be part of a community, to participate in worship or ceremonies connected with the realization of faith in, for example, the Christ or the Buddha. Such communities have an important role in bringing people to faith in something that transcends their ordinary life, ordinary perceptions of the world, and the concerns associated with it. They help to maintain order and build moral principles in society for millennia. Their contribution is unquestionable, but it is necessary to distinguish between their contribution to society and their role in showing the spiritual path leading to the liberation of the individual. This does not lie in collective effort, humanitarian aid, the struggle for peace or social equality, nor in family happiness or just a positive way of thinking. Your freedom is not found in some church or temple built of stone. It is in the temple of your mind. The individual, solitary journey is necessary for the realization of the goal. Each one alone must bear the crown of thorns woven from the objects of wanting that is driven into his soul, and each one alone must take the steps under the weight of the cross to complete freedom. This is the most important message of the teachings leading to freedom, to enlightenment. And it is precisely this message that is lost in the flood of tasks and challenges that religious organizations impose upon themselves. It is also impossible that for the huge number of people that these organizations feel responsible for, there are enough people on the such spiritual level to be able to lead others. There is a lot of social pressure on these organizations to change, transform, modernize, and adapt to modern man. Tragically, there are people within these organizations who agree with these demands. Only a fool can think that man can set the conditions under which he can come before God. It is unbelievable insolence to put conditions on God. There is only one permissible transformation, and that is the transformation of oneself into a new being. Any attempt to transform, to change, to facilitate the spiritual path as taught, for example, by Jesus of Nazareth or Siddhartha Gautama, leads to its destruction. Any attempt to make our own interpretation more to our liking is our judgment, which will deprive us of reaching the goal. Enlightenment knows no compromise. Another option is to become a member of a monastic community, to completely physically leave the hustle and bustle of the outer world and devote all our time to the exploration of the inner world, to dedicate ourselves to the pilgrimage to God, to enlightenment. The monastic life brings many advantages for the realization of the spiritual life. Not everyone, however, is able to cope with the rigorous conditions of the life of a monk. The harsh ascetic way of fulfilling the spiritual path can bring severe depression to people without sufficient inner motivation. The mind is shaped all its life by its surroundings, so that it constantly requires the presence of objects that are pleasing to us and spontaneously absorbs itself into them. Few people can handle complete detachment from the things that fill an ordinary person's life. If, however, he can cope with this challenge, he can create the optimum conditions for his journey. But we cannot say that even a life thus led does not put obstacles in the way of progress. Complete separation from worldly concerns may create the appearance in the mind of the adept that he is separated from the outer world, even internally, which may not be true, and it is the inner separation, not the outer, which is the necessary condition for advancement. Another difficulty lies in the importance of true guidance, already mentioned several times. The monastic life does not guarantee you access to such guidance. The required almost blind obedience to authority in these organizations, authority that comes only from the position held, can lead to an absence of critical reason, which is essential for understanding all that the mind presents to us on the spiritual path. The community itself can also become an obstacle. If a member identifies too much with the collective, it will lead him to the attitude that he can only advance further within that collective, and if he and his fellow members help each other, they will reach the desired goal together. Whether the external circumstances will serve the goal or stand in the way depends entirely on how you approach them. Difficult situations in life may lead you to look for ways to forget them, such as through alcohol, drugs, sex, or any activity that will keep the mind from returning to those situations. However, the same situations can also have the opposite effect. You realize that this world is full of suffering, chaos, hatred, greed, and stupidity. People have crippled minds. They are glued to objects, and all they care about is how to secure a stronger glue. All this marasmus is caused by egoism, and this is the result of the fiction contained in the answer to the question, "Who am I?" Having attained enlightenment, you look upon the suffering of the world as the heart-rending lamentation of survivors burying an empty casket. In doing so, there was never anyone to put in that casket. Don't look left, right, or back. Walk forward. Don't let the crowd control you. Narrow is the gateway to enlightenment. All are called, all carry within them the possibility of enlightenment, but few attain it. Don't worry about what others do, don't compare yourself to others, don't try to convince them, and don't plunge into endless debates. Do not be swept away by others from the narrow path to the broad path that many take. This path does not lead to the knowledge of the truth of the subject and its ultimate goal. You may meet many who will try to sell you dog excrement wrapped in brocade. Therefore, tread this path judiciously. You do not have several lifetimes to traverse it and attain enlightenment. The truth is, you only have the present moment, the here and now, to do it. I hope this series of videos has been helpful to you on your spiritual journey. I wish you a steady step on your journey, and whatever you do, keep calm and keep a sense of humor while you do it. Become equal to the highest truth. Be well.